Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And how do you do? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And God loves you. Ooh. Why? Because he touched you and me with the gift of life this day that will never, ever, ever come again. Therefore, I'm going to give him the praise, the hallelujah, the worship, the glory, and most importantly, the acknowledgement that he is. Oh, 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 how he is. Delivered me from co-occurring disorders 34 years ago as an alcoholic, as a prostitute, as a crackhead, and the whole 9 yards. He did it for me, and he can do it for you. February the 22nd of 1990, while underneath a parked car, I hollered out these words: whoever they say you are, take me out now or show me a better way. Why? Because he wanted to prepare me, deliver me, right? Mold and shape me so I can be sitting before you here today to do what? To let you know that you can be set free and to give hope to others. Yes, I'm Edwina B, Miss Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, as you can see, and I come to you just the way I am. I went to bed with no dentures. I woke up with no dentures. And guess what? I have them right here, right? Okay. But see, the whole point is to be set free from recovery, emerge empowered for a reason and purpose to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Do you hear me? We are all God's children in this marvelous, marvelous journey called life, but we can only learn and apply spiritual principles in order to deal with anything on this earthly journey. And so I ask you, free to hope. From recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others. I want to be your keynote speaker. I want to be your seminar, your workshop leader. I want to be your facilitator, your presenter, your trainer. Why? Because I want to share with you how transparency and authenticity can set you free, free from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. So the next question becomes, which is our topic for today, right? Are you tired? Hold on. Are you tired of being broken and broke? Hold on, right? So let me share with you, right? So one of the things that I had to learn through my journey, right? And it wasn't until I got into recovery 34 years ago that it was a spiritual journey. And the importance of learning and applying spiritual tools and resources, I find out that there was nothing wrong with me. No, I wasn't crazy. I mean, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, but you know what I mean, huh? But something happened to me, and it started way, way back. And so, with me acknowledging my brokenness and being broke underneath that park car, getting high with my stepson, doing all kind of sexual favors for him. Are you kidding me? Dogs and cats get underneath a parked car. But I was running for my life, and I got a flashback from my past. If I just get underneath that car, like I got underneath that bed, he can't hurt me. And so that's when I realized that, guess what? I am broken and broke spiritually. That includes all areas of my life. So my knee bowing experience was designed, was waiting for me. Yes. It was waiting for me so that the student would become ready, so the teachers will appear. Yes. And so I've learned through my journey that we are born to serve, but guess what? Most of us are taught and conditioned, right, and brainwashed to serve others and not the ultimate. But that's good because he has an ultimate plan. Okay. And so the spiritual tools that I use is the Bible, and I'll get more into that later, right? The 12-step spiritual program, right? The spiritual revival hour. Yes. A church of my affiliation, correct. right? And the 5 agreements by the Weaves family, as well as Dr. Sonia of P3 University. So I want to be able to share with you how I was able, right? I was able to be a part of the road to recovery. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hello?
Saw the text.
Okay, good. Wait a minute. I'm doing my podcast. I'll call you right back. So that was my daughter, and the her 3 children, my grandchildren, were all in Dallas, Texas, because of a cheerleading competition, right? And so thank God for me learning and applying spiritual tools and resources to address my brokenness and being broke, so that I can be of service to my children, to my grandchildren, right? And so y'all can't even fathom, or maybe you can, how grateful I am for the God I did not know, but who I know now. So let me put these teeth in so I can articulate a little better. See, here they go. Okay, push them up. So guess what? If you can imagine the energy I have now, could you imagine me in person? Well, good. I want you to imagine me in person, because that opportunity is coming on April the 27th, Saturday, 2024, at Canaan Baptist Church, the church of my affiliation, in Newcastle, Delaware, from 2 to 4. I got the information all for you. And I also want to say that as a result of me doing my podcast for years now, okay? But here, January the 1st of 2024, as Dr. Sonia says, the number 8 is the number for new beginnings. So new beginnings, I need to step out. I need to step out from behind the camera and the TV, and I need to get you in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. You heard that song? Yes, because I want to get you in the room. I want to share with you how my God delivered me from underneath a parked car, y'all. Underneath a parked car at the age of 34, right? And I'm celebrating 34 years as of February the 23rd of 2024. And guess what? I'm 68 years old. 34 and 34 equals 68. So it's a new beginning for me. And so I want to invite you out so that you can touch and feel me. I know you can feel me through this camera, through the TV, but I want you to be in person with me. So I want to invite you into the room with me. So mark your calendars, Saturday, April the 27th, 3011 Newcastle Avenue, Canaan Baptist Church, right, from 2 to 4. And it's free. It's free to the participants. Freely I receive and freely I want to give. Yes. However, if your agency or organization provides services for those who have co-occurring disorders, they can set up their table and pay a vendor fee. This way they can pass out information. And then I also want to have on site a psychologist and a psychiatrist and counselors in the event that someone may need help as a result of me being transparent and authentic, and it touches something in them. I want them to be able to get the help right there, right then, so that they can be set free. Okay. So what I want to do now is get into our topic. Okay. And so our topic for today, Lord, I just love you. I just love you. I just love you. Okay. So let me see. All right. Oh, so the first thing I want to be able to share with you, right, is the reflection reading for today. So many of you know that in attending my AA, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, 34 years, there is a spiritual reading that we do every morning, and it is called the reflection reading. And we who are in recovery from alcohol, drugs, and the lifestyle, we get some spiritual food, some spiritual nourishment, some spiritual encouragement to keep the focus on just for today, right? And so let me share with you one of the spiritual tools that I will be sharing with you on April the 27th. So this is February the 29th, and the daily reflection says, 1 AA miracle. Go to aa.org for more information. And it reads, Save for a few brief moments of temptation, the thought of drink has never returned. And at such times, a great revulsion has risen up in him. Seemingly, he could not drink even if he would. God had restored his sanity. This is from Alcoholics Anonymous, page 57. And the person in recovery shares his perspective by saying, the word God was frightening to me when I first saw it associated with AA's 12 steps. Having tried all the means I could to stop drinking, I found that it was not possible for me to sustain that desire over a period of time. Yet, how could I believe in a God that had allowed me to sink to the deep despair that engulfed me, whether drinking or dry? The answer was in finally admitting that it might be possible for me to know the mercy of a power greater than myself who could grant me sobriety contingent on my willingness to come to believe. By finally admitting that I was one among many, and by following the example of my sponsor and other AA members and practicing faith I did not have, my life has been given meaning, direction, and purpose. Oh my God. Did you hear the tears? Did you hear the tears almost coming? Did you hear the tears? These are tears of joy when I connect with another person who is ill to some extent, whether it be from any addiction and as well as a mental illness. I can relate where before I thought I was different. I couldn't identify, but through my journey, I became one of them. Yes, and I'm so glad I did, because had I not gone through what I went through, I would not be available to embrace this gift called grace and mercy. I would not have been able to be introduced to a 12-step spiritual program. Yes, the medical, the religious, and all those other things could not help me. I needed a psychic change, and I got it from underneath that parked car by hollering out, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way, so I can understand what this person in recovery says. I got to read it again, y'all. I got to read it again. He says, the word God was frightening to me when I first saw it associated with AA's 12 steps. Having tried all the means I could to stop drinking, I found that it was not possible for me to sustain that desire over a period of time. Yet, how could I believe in a God that had allowed me to sink to the deep despair that engulfed me, whether drinking or dry? The answer was in finally admitting that it might be possible for me to know the mercy of a power greater than myself who could grant me sobriety contingent on my willingness to come to believe, but finally admitting that I was one among many, and by following the example of my sponsor and other AA members and practicing faith I did not have, my life has been given meaning, direction, and purpose. Do you know that I would not be sitting here before you had not my predecessors in Alcoholics Anonymous showed me that there is a way. We do recover one day at a time, but it takes the willingness. It takes the willingness. And so that's why for me, my bottom was underneath that parked car. In actuality, it was my knee bowing experience. Okay. So let me go to the next spiritual tools that I use. Okay. So let's go here. Now, we have been sharing with you. We shared step 1, which says, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable, right? Without that admittance, right, there was no way I could have freedom and I could have the ability to help somebody else who was just like me. And so that first step we have to do 100% every day, because once you know you have been defeated, there's no coming back. right? I believe in surrendering. And when we surrender, we only surrender once. So the second step came to believe that a power greater than me could restore us to sanity. And sanity only means soundness of mind, right? Soundness of mind. And so when I think about my admittance, I mean, underneath that parked car, take me out or show me a better way. I'm relying on you, whoever you are, to take me out or show me a better way. That was my first genuine, authentic, and transparent cry for help. Yes, you make the decision. And when the decision was made for me to stay here, the faith began in a really, really fantastic and miraculous way. Okay. And so I had to believe that I had to believe that this power greater than me would set me on the pathway to recovery. Spiritual recovery, a recovery that would help with my thinking. In other words, give me a psychic change. So step 1 and step 2 were paramount, and me getting sober and staying sober. And so the first step says, I can't. The second step says he can. And the third step says, I'll make a decision to let him. So let's go to the third step. Okay. And many of you should know by now. And if you don't, I don't mind repeating. The steps came from the scriptures. And when you hear my story in person or bits and pieces, I had a disdain for religion. I had a disdain for God. I had a disdain for the pastors. I had a disdain for the churches and the congregation. I had a disdain for them. Why? Because of I'm finding out what happened to me, but they made me think something was wrong with me. Okay. And so step 3 says we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Let me stay there, okay? It says, we made a decision, and I did this on my last podcast, right? So it's really part 2. And so it says, we made a decision. Wait a minute. Where you are? Where are you? Hold on. We made a decision. Hold on. Here it is, right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let me put this on here, okay? Let me put this on here, okay? Let me put this on here and let me show, right? And so, when I think about making a decision, we make decisions all day long. Do you know, being here in Dallas, Texas, right? My daughter and grandchildren are still upstairs. I'm in the lobby of the Fairfield Inn in Dallas, Texas, and I had to find a space because I wanted to make sure that I sit before you once again. I want to make sure that I continue and be consistent with being of service to my God and being of service to you. And so I made a decision to find a place. I made a decision to hook up the equipment. I made a decision to schedule this podcast. Yes, I made a decision. But guess what? The enemy said, don't worry about it. They don't worry about it. That bed feels real comfortable. I'll do it again. No. I could have made that decision, but I didn't, because I know and recognize when the enemy is trying to distract me from doing what God wants me to do. Yes, and so we make decisions all day long, but as it relates to our disease of alcoholism and our disease of mental illness, right? We learned that we were powerless and we needed a power greater than us to help us pave the way, to help us seek freedom, to help us to reveal things that we tried to conceal that prevented us from healing. And so when we had our knee-bowing experience or we hit bottom, that's when the student became ready and the teacher appeared, right? And so on the 12-step spiritual program, that's when we learned, right, that we needed spiritual principles to learn, to embrace, to apply, to practice them in order to deal with any deck of cards that life deals us. So when we apply spiritual principles to all earthly matters, we will have serenity God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to make a difference, to know the difference. And so I'm making a decision to embrace the serenity prayer. Because if I do not practice what I've been taught from spiritual tools and resources, I will go back underneath that parked car. And guess what? Hell to the no. I'm not giving anything or anybody that much power ever again to put me back where God delivered me from. You hear me? Okay, so let's get into it, right? And so the other thing about the word care, right? So this is the hit, y'all. It says to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, to the care of God, to the care of God. You know, on the airplane yesterday, there were several babies on there, and you know, children and babies act like children and babies, right? And so it is contingent on the wisdom that these parents had or have or needed to somewhat soothe them, to somewhat comfort them, to somewhat attend to their needs so that they can be quiet. But guess what? Those that were on the plane was challenged with patience and tolerance. Okay, and so with the parents, this one that was sitting behind me, it was the mother and the father, and so the mother, she was so gently caring for the baby. You know, she played with her, she sung songs to her, she attended to her needs, right? And what the beauty was is that I asked the father, I said, do you do the same thing the mother's doing? He said once in a while, but I got four more at home. Okay. But to the care of. And so when we who are in recovery, we make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to a power greater than us. And we find out in step 3 that it is God, the force, the creator, whoever you want to call him, it, her. It's not you and it's not me. Therefore, I need to make a decision to cry out to that one who took that obsession and that compulsion away from me, but one day at a time, contingent on my willingness to practice spiritual principles. Okay. And so once we make that decision, so let's go on to the scripture, right? And so I told you that the scriptures came from the Bible, and our co-founders and their infinite wisdom, as a result of talking to Dr. Carl Jung, that we who suffer from co-occurring disorders, we need a psychic change. And so we could not utilize what the Oxford group did or the Washingtonians did. We had to come up with our own spiritual pathway so that we can be delivered and delivered spiritually. Yes, because if we don't apply spiritual principles to earthly matters, we will go back. And I'm telling you, I ain't going back for nothing. So here is the scripture that step 3 came from. It says Romans 12:1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. So what you need to do is go back to my previous podcast where I did part part 1 on this. And so let's just dissect this. It says, therefore, I urge you, when somebody urges you, they are really, they're doing everything they can not to make you. They're doing everything they can not to force you, right? They urge you. They urge you, and they are urging you because they too have experienced what they are trying to get you to see and to do. And urge is a look. I mean, come on now, come on. I'm urging you. And so here goes the next word. I urge you, brothers. I urge you, brothers. I urge you, my brothers. Oh my God. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my God. Hold on. Hello.
morning. Is this Miss Helen?
No, I have to call you right back. I'm in an emergency. I'll call you right back. And so it says, I urge you, my brothers. Huh? And so our Creator have put predecessors before us and have put people in our lives that have been given some additional spiritual wisdom and tools and resources because they know they too have experienced what we're going through or may have experienced something similar. So they know, brothers, sisters, what? Yes, you are a child of God just like I am. Let me urge you, my brothers. Yes. So in recovery and dealing with mental illness, we look at people as our sisters and our brothers because it says all human beings are ill to some extent. They are all ill to some extent. Yes, just by the nature of being human and living in this sinful world, we are ill. But guess what? Our God, our Creator, provided a solution. So listen to it. Hang out for a few more minutes, okay? So here's the solution, right? He says, in view of God's mercy, oh my God, in view of God's mercy, in view of God's mercy, y'all, I can't wait to share with y'all. I can't wait. As a drug addict, as a prostitute, as an alcoholic, I did some insane things. Yes, when people overdosed or when people got killed, I didn't call 911. I robbed them. I robbed them. Yes, I looked in their pockets. I took their drugs. I robbed them. Right. And so, I don't know and didn't understand at the time because I was so caught up. And that's why I needed to find out what was wrong with me. But if nothing was wrong with me, something happened to me to make me and cause me to do these things and to think that way. And so it says, in God's view of mercy, why am I selected? Why was I chosen? Why was I picked out of so many to be sitting here before you sharing my experience, my strength, and my hope? Why was I chosen? Why was I called? And obviously, if there's a reason, because I'm sitting here before you. So in God's view of mercy, yes, right? And then he goes on to say, right? He says, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices. Oh boy. Let me dissect that for you. Okay, so listen. This is the only vehicle that we have. This vehicle, this vessel, this body is the only one we have, right? So we didn't choose our gender. We didn't choose our color. We didn't choose our culture. We didn't choose where we lived. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose, right, our brothers and sisters, but we do choose our friends, right? And so as a result, right, it says you have this vessel. And as a result of this vessel, any and all kinds of spirits will operate through it. See, I didn't understand when I saw at the steak store, it says wine and spirits. I was like, what that got to do with it? Well, if you drink our wine, you're going to get different spirits, right? And so think about it, right? So if this is the only vessel, what spirits are operating through this body? Is it the spirit of lust? Is it the spirit of ego? The spirit of pride? The spirit of promiscuity? The spirit of manipulation? What spirits are occupying this body? That's why the fourth step is so important, to find out what happened. Where, what, how, who? In the beginning, what environment, what situation, what happened? What set the stage for our attitudes, ideas, and behaviors to be formulated? Something happened. And so as a result of this body being used by many and all things, domestication, as the Ruiz family talks about it, right? The scriptures talks about it. Alcoholics Anonymous talks about it. Dr. Sonia talks about it. The Five Agreements talks about it, right? What spirits are being used now? And so as a result, I got one more minute, y'all. As a result, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, right? And so I make a decision. I make a decision. I practice. Let me put the word practice in it. I practice making a decision each and every day, all day long. Am I going left? Am I going right? Based on the spiritual information I have. so that I can choose what spirit is going to operate through this body. And guess what? When we are in recovery, we do stumble, but we stumble forward because we will never achieve perfection, but we can make progress, right? And so the last thing I want to say is it says holy and pleasing to God, holy and pleasing to God, holy and pleasing to God. Oh my God, do you think our Creator is happy with me? Do you think he's satisfied with me? Do you think that I'm living in my purpose and in my destiny by sharing with you transparently and authentically what my Creator has done for me and that he can do for you? Yes. Yes, yes, I know he's pleased. I know he's pleased. I know he is pleased. He also know I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops too, but he loves me just the way I am, and I love me too. Therefore, I can love you. And so the last thing I want to share, right, is it says, this is your spiritual act of worship. Yes, huh? How many of us worship man? We worship things. We worship material cars. We worship this. We worship that. It says this is your spiritual act of worship. Spiritual. It's spiritual in nature. And so let me close by saying, right, as a result of my God delivering me 34 plus years ago on secular time, but God is on sacred time, that when the student becomes ready, the teacher will appear. When I have my knee bowing experience, God knows when I'm ready. And when the student becomes ready and the teacher appear and we apply spiritual principles, the spiritual teacher, the spiritual student becomes ready and the spiritual teachers appear. That's our purpose and our journey on this life when we apply spiritual principles to all earthly matters. Your grace and mercy brought me through. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to praise you and thank you too, for it was your grace and your mercy that brought me through. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, and now I see. If it's God's desire that we wake up tomorrow morning, I'm here in Dallas, I don't know where you are, that I'll be sitting here before you to help set you free and to give you hope to help others. Be blessed.